we sit between you and a drink and dinner. But as you may have noticed, there are 6 of us here. So this is the only panel where we have 3 companies. So if you're thirsty, hold on to your thirst. We ain't going to give up soon. So folks, let's talk of what we did in Vizury. 1 year of 0 revenues. You sat as with the tags of IIT and IIM and you thought that would fix it for you. And then you went around to say, hey, what is the revenue model? Which way are we going to do it? So tell us, between the 3 of you, tell us about your first customer, about your first investor, and about the first senior level employee that you hired. Take a pick, whoever is going to talk about that.
Sure. So let me talk about the first customer. So we sort of just timeline-wise quit our jobs around mid-2008, right? And our business plan was a one-slider which said data, technology, marketing, right? And we thought the sort of the venture funds out there are there to sort of fund smart people like us. Unfortunately, that was not true. So we iterated with sort of multiple business models around that triangle. And here's an interesting meeting we had with Yahoo Small Business. So Yahoo Small Business had sort of more receptive ears as a potential customer. And then we sort of told them some things on the phone that we could do, and they said, okay, come do the demo. Right? So we had 3 to 4 days to build up a demo. Vikram coded all through the 3 nights. I remember we used to work out of Gaurav's bedrooms, the zero cost model. And we took it to sort of Yahoo Small Business after having demoed it only once, right? So there were some 500 use cases there. We had tested some 1 or 2 of them, and then went into the demo because we had to get there. The guy was sort of there with the checkbook. And this was Feb 2009. Mind you, not too many people were willing to give you checks. So we went to the demo started, Vikram started demonstrating it, I started sort of talking about it, and then the guy said, why don't you do this, this and this, right? Now Vikram sort of put in those options, and those are the sort of 5 minutes that are the longest 5 minutes of your life. The button got pressed, right, and then all of us were looking at each other anxiously, what will throw up over there, and then Vikram said it works. Right, and then I just calmed it down, saying, of course it works. Right. So we got our first check from Yahoo Small Business. Very good guys. They still happen to be friends. We laugh over it. But that was the beginning of our journey.
But as you talk of this demo, how many such demos had you done before where you'd not been as successful in getting a customer?
I'm not sure. Maybe tens of them. Maybe tens of them. We would build up demo after demo based around some hypothesis that we had. Mm-hmm. Take it out there, and then get kicked out. So that had become a ritual by that point in time.
And this was at the end of 1 year when you went for this particular meeting. So those dozens and dozens happened before. That's what I'd like the audience to understand. It takes a lot to get the first customer.
No, certainly it does. It does. I think I still remember February is when my first son was born. And then that happened to be his sort of first birthday.
Wow.
So some of the sort of, when newborn is there, people give you money, right? So I still remember my house, part of the sort of savings from those donations and well wishes that came in, ran the house for that month. So
how old is the son now?
He is about 6 years old, as old as the company, yeah.
Okay. So we spoke of the first customer. You want to talk of the first investor?
Yeah, the first investment was through an angel round. So what happened was, I think 3 months into the venture, we, two of the 3 of us are MBAs. So you can come up with you can think of the PPTs and the XLSs that come up. And we had this huge plan where we were planning to raise like millions of dollars, and we had a grand vision for the next 3 years, next 5 years, what would we do in 2012, 2014 and all that. But 2008, 2009 was a very, very bad phase for venture capital. So we realized it very soon, within 2 to 3 months of hitting the market. And so when we started reassessing the entire thing, we figured out, why not just raise enough for the next 1 to 2 years so that we are able to get enough business traction in India, and then we can go back to the market. So that's when we started looking at angel round in a big way, and we approached lots of friends, families. We had pitched to a lot of VCs, and what happened was some of the people who were in the part of the VC front, they came forward and say, I'm interested in an individual capacity, and I don't mind being being an angel investor at this point of time. So it's just 7 or 8 of 8 folks that got together, and we raised our first angel round, probably around a year from the time we started.
Including a VC wanted to run the company?
Sorry?
Including somebody wanted to run the company?
Yes.
I mean, what was the reaction when the guy came and said, I like the idea, but I'll run the company? What went through your mind?
Can't go into details right now, but it is a bit unexpected. So we thought of it as a regular VC round, so we approached it and we pitched it and all that. But it turned out the expectations were very different. So the expectation from the other person was, take charge and kind of lead the company, which maybe makes sense, but it was very unexpected from our side.
So just to add to that, this investor was based in Chennai actually, and so we took the cheapest bus from Bangalore to Chennai overnight, stayed over in a friend's place, went over to meet him in the lobby of a 5-star hotel like this. He fed us well, but this is what he told us at the end. So it was it was an anticlimax.
So there are no free lunches, guys. There are no free lunches. Tell us about the first employee that you hired after 3 of you came together.
Right, the first employee, okay. So this was in, I think, March of 2009, and Chetan's wife was at her parents' place. And we were bored of working out of my room, so we said, okay, let's move on to Chetan's place for a while. It's larger and we have the entire place for ourselves. And then, as frugal as we wanted to be, right, so we said we'll hire a fresh engineer as a fresh hire. And we saw that Vikram was working the hardest. He was sleeping hardly 4 hours a day. Said, okay, why doesn't this hire actually be under you, so that he can get a couple of hours more sleep per day? And his name is Anand, and he's still working with us, and he's sort of a legend in the office because he's the first employee. So we got Anand to office, which is actually Chetan's place. He was obviously finding it very weird that, why is somebody doing the interview at a place? Don't they have an office? And just before Anand came in, we realized that we don't have a table to do the interview. So we quickly ran over and we bought a makeshift plastic table, and we put 2 chairs, and we said, okay, Anand, you just sit here. This is where the interview is going to happen. Thankfully, he liked the team, and he said, I really like the interview, the process that you guys went through, and I really like the questions that you asked. Nobody's ever asked me such tough questions before. And let me join you guys, even though you guys are paying very poor salaries compared to the market. So it was also advantageous for us because it was a bad time and people were not getting good salaries in the market. So it sort of worked out well. That also reminds me some interesting stories about our initial hires. So we were working with this recruitment consultant who would help us source candidates for interviews. And we would wait for the candidate to come, and many times the candidate wouldn't turn up. In fact, pretty often the candidates wouldn't turn up. And I would get very frustrated with this consultant saying, why are you sending us candidates who are not interested? It's a waste of my time. So he was very hesitant in the beginning to tell me the reason. But then he sort of had some guts and he said, actually they're coming and looking at the office and running away. So that was sort of an eye-opener. And then the next few interviews, we actually did it in Cafe Coffee Day. We said, okay, let's not get them to office, and let's get them in Coffee Day, and then, slowly open up the reality.
So when did you guys move out of what you call the low-cost option of working out of the bedroom into a real office?
No, so the first was 2009, I think. 2009 is when we moved out to a 2-bedroom house, and we formally moved it to an office only in 2011, I think. Yeah, so about 4 years back.
Okay, thank you. Rajeev, chip shot. Looked great. You guys raised a lot of money, and then you walked away. Tell us about what happened and what went to your mind and what made you come back to PubMatic and which way you looked at it?
Sure. So ChipShot is the first company that I started along with one of my co-founders at PubMatic, Goel, who's my brother, lives in Bombay. And this was back in the mid-90s, and so this was an e-commerce business selling customized golf equipment online. We raised money, well over $50 million in venture capital from the likes of Sequoia Capital Research, Sumitomo in Japan, and I was, I think, 22 at the time. And I think we made really two mistakes. So one is that we raised too much money relative to the size and the traction of business that we had. So ultimately, we grew it to $30 to $40 million in revenue run rate. But having raised that much money, the exit hurdle, the exit barrier gets obviously steeper and steeper every time. And I think we did not understand that well enough.
So Rajeev, are you telling the audience and the people that getting the right amount of money is critical? Because if you get too much or too little, it can be a problem in the long term.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And you know, if you think back to those times, that's when venture funds were first raising their $800 million, $900 million, even billion-dollar funds. And so a big part of their model was to push as much money into a company as possible. And I think we were not savvy enough at that time to understand that approach. And so absolutely raising too much money can become a problem. And the second way it becomes a problem is every problem that you come across as a CEO or entrepreneur, you start to think, well, money is the way to solve it because I've got this money sitting in the bank and it's earning me 2%, 3%, whatever it's earning. And so you throw more money at the problem, which means more people, more infrastructure, more third parties, all of those types of things, which really can move the money, move the company in a different direction, in the wrong direction. So we've tried very hard at PubMatic to learn those lessons and apply those lessons correctly. So today we have a pretty substantial business. We've raised about $60 million in venture capital. So we've been much more conservative. We reached levels of profitability much sooner than that. So we're trying to apply those lessons learned from the 90s blow up much more successfully today.
So in terms of that learning which you are applying today, other than saying optimize on the money, is there something that you'd like to tell the audience about who to take money from? Because right now we've spoken right from the self-funded to angel investors to VC rounds and a lot of talk of IPO. We'll come to some IPO chats on that. But do you have any guidance to people to say, look at where you raise money from, or is it dumb money? It doesn't matter where it comes from.
No, I think more important than the fund itself is actually who is the investor from the fund and who will be on your board of directors. And that relationship with the board of directors is obviously very important. One of the things that I think we've done well at PubMatic is each of the individuals that is on our board from our investors, Nexus, Helion, August Capital, they're primarily operators themselves. So they've spent 30 or 40 years as CEOs, as CFOs, and they maybe have spent 10 years now as investors. But when they are confronted with a problem, with a challenge, with a question, they think about it really from the operator perspective, right? That's in their DNA. And so they understand that businesses don't always go up and to the right every quarter. You're going to hit some rough pockets. You're going to have some issues you've got to work through, and that some of these things take time. And so they're patient, they're very long-term oriented, and they really put themselves naturally in the entrepreneur or the founder's shoes. And so we, as a result of that, have never had a contentious decision at a board meeting. I've never had to take anything to a vote because everything is really consensus-driven and is about focusing on what's the long-term best interest of the company. So that's really the best advice I can give to anybody who's looking to raise money. There's plenty of checkbooks out there, but really focus on who's the individual that you're going to be working with and that's going to join your board.
So the who is very important.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Purga, from a Tamil matrimony to a Telugu matrimony to dozens of sites, all clubbed into one. Talk to us about the journey and the thinking that went into which way you could take it for the Indian marketplace.
1997, while I was in US, wanted to do something on internet because I saw the internet was fast growing in US, e-commerce side, B2B, B2C. I was clueless about where to begin. Since I'm from Tamil Nadu, I thought, let me do something targeting a Tamil community in US. Then I searched on the internet, I found a lot of Tamil sites were already there. Then I realized, like, rather than competing with other Tamil sites, let me do something different. I thought of putting some application which thought will be useful to the Tamil community. Tamil calendar, Tamil festival reminder. One of the section added was matrimony section. Sensing an opportunity in the matrimony, when I saw many people are coming for the matrimony section, people like me who are in US want to get married. And I realized an opportunity. It took 2.5 years. It was a one-man show for me to identify the matrimony as an opportunity. Since we are running a Tamil site, I thought let's do Tamil matrimony, Telugu matrimony. They realized same technology, at the end of the everything the same. Let's do everything under one brand of Bharat Matrimony. But approach was Tamil matrimony, Telugu matrimony, linguistic approach. So till 2006 it was the Bharat Matrimony. Then I realized in India marriage is not about a Tamilian marrying a Tamilian or Marathi marrying a Marathi. You know, India people get married within the community. Then we thought the competition opportunity could be on the likes of a community-specific matrimony site. We launched our own competition under the brand called Community Matrimony. We have 300 plus matrimony sites.
350 plus as per
for every religion, every community, even exclusive sites like defense matrimony or even any caste matrimony, 40 plus matrimony. Basically, we have segmented the matrimony based on various possibilities. We also have other services like elite matrimony, exclusive matchmaking service for rich and affluent. Then you have assisted matrimony for busy professionals who don't have the time to look for life partner. Our relationship manager take care of assisting the people, understanding the needs. They facilitate the interaction between the prospects and set up the meeting. Basically, when the world is outsourcing the technology jobs to India, you outsource your matchmaking to us, we take care of that responsibility. So
while you talk of outsourcing the matchmaking, one of the fascinating things I found as I read the book was that you yourself got married using your own website.
Yeah, so here's that testing of that's how service works.
That's a huge test, guys.
Yeah. 15 years of happy married life, going to complete my 15th anniversary in a couple of weeks. Happily married. Sometimes wife tell you, promoting our marriage too much. I said, look, that there is an advantage of it. You have to ensure the marriage works because I have to ensure that, being a testimony of Bharat Matrimony.
So Muruga, there is talk of the struggle you had with the revenue model because in this, how do you charge? Who do you charge? Does it make enough money? Talk to us about the struggle and what learnings you had in creating the revenue model. And I'm coming with the revenue model question to all of you. I think that is an aspect we haven't dwelled on in this. So to give people an idea what it takes to create a revenue model and what thinking you have to go through, what experimentation you have to go through. So we'll start with you and then we'll go down that way.
Initially from Tamil Matrimony, when it was part of the community site, it was a free matrimony service. When I moved to Tamil Matrimony, I wanted to charge. The day one we shifted from the free service, paid service, I had a party that day evening. I told my colleagues back in India, look, we are converting a paid membership, we expect a lot of revenue to happen. When I came back, there was only one person made the payment. Then I called the guy to understand what made to make the payment. He said, look, I want to encourage you guys, you're doing a good job. Then I realized that because the company started with a $10 investment, then I got laid off. Then I realized that, look, I got to, the only way to survive is to kind of charge. I didn't have any other options. So it took almost from 2006 when you raised the first round of funding. Till then it was bootstrapped with $10. Over a period of $10 become $1,000 out of my consulting job. Then I got laid off full time to the business. So without no other options, I continued as a paid service and all that. Good thing that I didn't have any VCs at that point of time.
You put in a lot of your own money before you created a real revenue model to come out of it.
In fact, 2000 when I got laid off, I had a green card in US. I told my wife, recently got married at that point of time, look, I get $1,000 from the US government since I had a green card that can take care of apartment rent. What are the money we are making through the subscription? We manage it $300 of the revenue that take care of grocery and other things. Let me continue the entrepreneur journey. And if in 2-3 years doesn't work, I can go back to my software programming thing, which I know I was very good at. So that's a plunge helping to become what we are today.
Okay, let's talk a little more. Your learnings of the revenue model, which way, and when the guys paid up or did not pay up.
Sure. So when this question came about differentiation and trying to sort of create a moat for yourself, wherein the clients pay you money on an ongoing basis. So one of the things we essentially sort of saw was, as we iterated through multiple business models, is customers like sort of to buy things that deliver real business value, that actually sort of impact their top line and bottom line. Right. So the philosophy that we took is we will be a strong pay for performance company. Right. So when we work with, let's say, Rakuten in Japan, or we work with Jet Airways in India, or we work with VIP Shop in China, we get paid by our clients only when we drive a real transaction on their website. Otherwise, we don't get paid.
So it's a revenue model that says, after I create revenue or I deliver to what I promise, you pay me for that.
Yes.
And you found that as a workable model.
Yes, yes. And so we essentially sort of started there, right? And we have about 600 paying customers around this model now globally. And then we started sort of looking back as to what are the technologies, systems, processes that we need to build to be able to get this pay for performance model. So this has been a revenue model right from day one. I mean, Sandeep is sitting here. ClearTrip was one of our very early customers, and they used to pay us.
It was your first customer, I read about.
Yeah, Yahoo Small Business and ClearTrip were sort of side-by-side chats. But ClearTrip used to pay us 150 rupees for every domestic ticket transaction that we drive on the website, and I think it was 325 rupees for every international flight ticket that we kind of drive on the website. So it's a very transparent, sort of mutually beneficial model wherein we make money when they make money.
Rajeev.
Yeah, for us, our revenue model is a subscription model, but I think what's interesting is when we first launched the product, the PubMatic solution in 2007, we signed up about 1,000 long-tail publishers in the first day of our launch. And today, none of those folks are our customers. We changed the model about 2 years later to be focused really on the head of the market, so the very largest publishers. We work with half of the top 100 in the U.S. So our model has evolved over time. I think one of the mistakes that first-time entrepreneurs make is to be overly focused on the revenue model. The key is actually to just build a great product that delights the customer, and if you do that, you'll find customers that will be willing to pay you. And we've seen some examples here and on other panels. If you look at many of the great companies out there that, of course, many of us aspire to, whether it's Apple or Alibaba or the like, their revenue model has evolved significantly over time. So Alibaba is a great example where the world's largest e-commerce company by a very, very large margin, 70% of the revenue comes from advertising. So very non-intuitive, and they figured out that they could actually make a lot more money from the merchants by having them advertise on the site to drive more commerce activity rather than charging storefront type of fees. So I think it's key to not focus too much on the revenue model out of the gate.
But focus on meeting the needs of the customer.
Focus on who that customer is, meeting their needs, and once you figure that out, there's 20 different ways you can monetize that.
Okay, we spoke about the customers. Let's speak about you guys as leaders. Rajeev, what is the most difficult leadership decision you've had to take in this journey?
Yeah, I think the most difficult leadership decision for me has been around managing the team, managing the growth of the company in terms of people. So obviously people are what makes any of us successful. About 2 years ago, 2012, we had just grown our revenue over 2011 by about 80%, and I came to the decision to let go to fire about 85% of the management team. So this was a team that had taken us from zero in revenue to tens of millions of dollars and had done a great job doing that. But at the same time, I realized they were not the team that was going to take us to a couple $100 million a year in revenue. That wasn't what they wanted to do, and that wasn't what they had really built their careers around doing. And so I went to the board and said, hey, here's my plan. And the investors kind of looked at me like I was crazy, given that we had been growing so quickly, and I planned to turn over all of these senior people, but I did it nonetheless, and I think it's proven to be a wise decision.
Great. For Vizury, tell us, any one of you, what you started out as a business plan and what did it evolve to? And how did you tackle that entire change from what you thought it to be, which is what you probably shared with your investors, and what it came out to be?
Sure. So this point about data and gut sort of came up early in the discussion. I think Mr. Murthy had sort of quoted a fantastic quote which said, "In God we trust, everybody else please get the data." Right? So when you start off, you're gods, and unfortunately there isn't too much of data around, so you trust your gut. And our gut was, there is something called digital CRM, which is about how do brands and marketers manage all their data to understand the consumers better, and in turn action those insights to engage with their customers in a one-to-one fashion. And we thought, it's about 6 years back, we said this is going to be a big field, and that's what our sort of directional bet was on. So we have essentially sort of evolved this direction of the company step by step, in terms of starting off with one slice of it on one vertical in one geography with one business model, and we have sort of multiplied on all those dimensions to take it forward from there.
Wonderful. Murga, from bootstrapping, where from the US you came to India, put in your savings, to seeing a business build and then taking external money and having somebody come onto your board. What was the transformation? What would you tell people how to prepare for that? Or is there no need to prepare, it just happens?
Since you are running a matrimony business, it's more like getting a funding is more like getting married for the first time. Get married, a lot of excitement.
I think your business gives you a lot more learning within the business than others need, right?
Yeah, get married with a lot of excitement and understand that, kind of, you may have compatible issues. It's more like a marriage, then try to work it out. As a marriage, the investment, can also kind of, the investors, the relationship gets better. What happens now, the marriage gets better, the relationships also get better. They also understand your perspective, you understand their perspective. So that's why it's happened. It's important to raise money, because if you have not raised money, we don't have become what you are today. But it also comes with the challenges, because till that time you are not answerable to anyone. Once you raise the money, you are responsible. So it's a great experience like marriage. So it's only got better.
Okay, it only got better. So I just want to focus, we spoke a little about IPO and the fact that you, Mr. Narayan Murthy brought out the fact that you have to deliver quarter on quarter. But as you take external investors, it's a microcosm of the same. And that's what. Is there that marriage that happens, or is there something that you need to prepare for? Even in marriage, you need to prepare for marriage. So what is the guidance you'll give to others who are looking at, who are at the same stage where they're looking to raise money? What is your advice and guidance that you'll give to them?
Maybe I can go. One of the things that we did, I think, well at Vizury is we tried to get a meeting of minds with the people that we were trying to raise funds from. And it's a double-edged sword, right? So if you have the same kind of people in a board, you just tend to make the same kind of decisions, right? And you want variety, you want different perspectives, etc. But the good thing about having people who think similar is there is lesser conflicting situations, right? When you want to do something else, the investor wants to do something else, that's when things can go back, right? The good thing for Vizury, fortunately what did happen very well is the DNA of the entrepreneurs, how we wanted to sort of build a company, how we wanted to run a company, was similar to how investors wanted to build a company, and investors, how, in what kind of companies they did want to sort of invest. Maybe Chetan.
I guess Rajeev referred to that to say that you need the right guy. There goes the second bell.
I think, any whether it's an IPO or you're doing another venture round, anytime you take a new set of funds, you're resetting investor expectations. Right? So if you've raised money at 10 million and now you're looking at raising, around at 50 million, if you get an exit offer at $80 million, your early investors might be thrilled about it. They'll make a 4 or 5x. But the $50 million investor, he's not going to be happy to take that deal, and he may very well block it. So I think you've got to be really sure as a team that if you take that money, you see the potential for growth, whatever your metrics are for the next 2 to 4 years, and you're ready to put your head down and go execute against that. Because if you're not, then that's where I think the problems can arise.
So last question to Murga. IPO, is that an option?
It's people talked about. It's a part of the journey. We started in 1997 and raised funding only in the year 2006. That will happen, and that's not the end of the journey. It's going to be a
It will happen. It's not end of the journey. Congratulations, guys, for building a wonderful business and being a part of the book, and thank you for being here. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Mr. Raman Roy. Thank you, panelists. Would request all of you to kindly stay back for a few more minutes. Would request all the entrepreneurs, all moderators back on stage, please. Shireen, Saina, come. Central, sir, please. For a group picture, sir, please.
Picture that you sent to us.
Yeah. All have to move a little back. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We've now come to the end of the event. Would like to thank our associate sponsor, Ivy Cap Ventures. You can all buy the Young Turks book from the stall outside. Many thanks for being here. Do join us for cocktail and dinner.